Hello and a very warm welcome to episode 56 of the Sussex by the Sea podcast, a podcast about all things Hastings United. I'm your host Chris Laverick, and on today's show we've got East Sussex College Hastings football curriculum lead Craig Gottlieb. Craig talks about the football programme, the relationship between ESCH, Hastings United and Skiltek football, the sheer number of our victorious under-23s that are in or have been through this programme, and a whole lot more. Also on the show we have that SBTS fan roundtable, and it's a special one as we have three new faces. We've got the Mankini one himself, Gary Histed. We've got father of Craig, Malcolm Stone, and Robert Grohl. Robert talks to us all the way from Bonn in his native Germany to talk about his German wing of the Hastings Supporters Club, the 10 German Bombers. Enjoy, Hastings fans. And now over to East Sussex College's Craig Gottlieb. We have the wonderful pleasure of having Craig Gottlieb here from East Sussex College. You're the curriculum lead of the football programme.
Yeah.
A little whisper tells me that you're also in the Girls Academy at Hastings United. You're also coaching there.
Yeah, that's correct as well, yeah.
Multiple hats, a bit like Mr. James Hopkins that I spoke to before.
Yeah.
So we're talking the day after the magnificent under-23 victory, winning the Sussex County Cup against New Haven.
Yeah.
Now, forgive me if I'm wrong here, but I think there's a few, well, not just a few, there's many people that have gone through this programme that you run that were involved with this victorious squad, either in their second or third year. I mean, do you just want to talk about, I mean, it was a great victory. I'm sure you must have got a few texts from the lads that you've been teaching.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Obviously, I put a nice good luck tweet out to them last night. You know, we were looking at the squad last night. So out of the 17, I think there's 15 that were either current or ex through the programme, which is unbelievable testament. And, you know, it's taken a long time to get there. But the achievement, I think, for any of the lads, you know, as you get older, cup finals become less and less. So it's really important that they savour those moments and especially to have the win on top of it. And I think as well, from all accounts, comprehensive win as well. So with another one, my hat's on. I'm one of the management team over at Eastbourne Town, under 23s. We played New Haven. We played New Haven in the semi-final. So I obviously sent Brownie the video of the game that we had in the semi-final.
Spy, love it.
And so, you know, obviously told some of the lads about what to expect, but from you know, Hastings winning was massive favourites, and so they should, because they're outstanding footballers, every single one of them that are in there. I think, you know, like I said, it's testament to the programme that we've managed to get that many, and probably there's probably a couple of lads that are probably disappointed not to be in the squad that are still in the programme now that could have made it, sort of thing. So, and that's without one of the biggest under 19 players in Tom Chalmers. You know, obviously wouldn't be involved with the 23s, but obviously Tom's still in the programme in his third year with us. And obviously Tom, for the college, has gone on to massive things, you know, captain in England at a college level. So that, you know, officially that makes him the best player in the country, doesn't it? At college level.
Exactly. So, he glides, mate. Is he like that at college? Does he glide? He just glides in, yeah?
Tom's very relaxed in his style, shall we say. No, he's a great lad. He's fantastic. He's been brilliant from day one. Academically, he knows his levels, sort of thing, and he's done really well to where he is now. But like I said, genuinely, every single one of the lads we've got on the programme, they're smashing lads, great people, and that's the most important thing as well. I think not only are they good footballers, you know, they're polite, you know, they're to the point as well, and that's what we want to see from young people, not just from the footballers as well. So it's really good.
Oh, well, I was chatting to a few of them. I know, is it Jordan, James? And they are in the programme, aren't they?
Jordan wasn't. James was. So James was one of ours. So James is out of the programme now. So he left last year or the year before. But, you know, James came in again. What a great lad he is. Really good. And obviously, you know, you see the stuff he's doing with the under-7 boys that he coaches as well, with Jordan coaching as well. You know, that shows again how much they're invested in the club, and just again, you know, the trust that the club's got for someone so young to be coaching a really important age group, sort of thing.
Yeah, but they seem really grounded. I mean,
Yeah,
had a conversation with Jordan earlier in the week before the game. Very grounded individual. Same with James, very polite, sort of good human beings, and obviously they're living and breathing and eating football.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's what I love to see. You know, that I think it's to see that passion for football still. You know, and I think sometimes that gets beaten out of young people, girls, boys, just enjoying the game, enjoying the moments. You know, like I said, last night doesn't come around very often for some players. So embrace that moment as a club and everything else. And I think it's been brilliant, sort of thing. So no, it's really important.
No, that's excellent. Cheers. Thanks for that, Craig. Right. For Craig, for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
What's the relationship? Because most of us mere mortal fans, we just see these excellent players coming through the ranks.
Yeah.
We think that it's just Chris Agata was a miracle maker.
Yeah.
You know, and not knowing, and a little bit when I was having that conversation with James before, James Hopkins, it's just that infrastructure behind that the club's got in place. What is the relationship between the club, East Sussex College, with the program, and obviously we've got Skiltek as well? What is that relationship? If you could explain that.
Yes, I mean it's been so this started 6 years ago it was just a conversation between myself and Ben White at Skiltek, and I said, look, I'd love to get a football program going, and that's how it started. And you know, year 1 and year 2 of the program, the club weren't involved, but then we were starting to have a few players that were playing in I think it was the old under-21s at that point. And then the club sort of got approached by the college, by Skiltek, to say, look, do you want to come on board with us? And then that's where it sort of started to gather the ground, sort of thing. But a lot of the academy stuff and the players that we're starting to see through, you know, that's come from the skill set side, where they've been promoting the coaches and the good work that they're doing behind the scenes to allow us to have these young players coming through. And then I think in the last probably 2-3 years, we've seen the relationship really grow, where most of the players that you see now playing for the 23s, for the first team, young players, they've come through this program, sort of thing. So the relationship is growing each year. You know, we've got obviously Ben from Skiltek, Billy's hands on with it, as you can probably imagine. So he's got a vented interest. You know, obviously the college are the main sponsors for the under-23 kit as well, which is brilliant to see. And I think it's just the relationship going forward, and obviously the college, fingers crossed for the new ground as well, that we can have some help with that as well, with the new ground if it comes ahead, sort of thing. So for everyone, the program has been really positive, sort of thing.
In terms of people actually getting involved with the program, are you selected? Can you do you apply? How do you get involved?
I mean, for me, obviously, I've got a real vented interest, and you know, I'm a bit of I love football. I always have, always played. So I'm really interested as well. So you know, you look at these boys that are coming through now. You know, I've known about some of these boys since they've been 12, 13 years old, speaking to the coaches at Skiltek to say, look, they've said, look, these boys are coming through. You're going to have a really good program. So what happens normally is through their school, they'll apply for a college course. And the beautiful thing with us here at college, you can do any course you want. So if you want to do A-levels, if you want to do catering, sport, or whatever you want to do, the football program is available for you. So what it is, it's really inclusive that, you know, if you're a very talented footballer, again, you don't have to be a Hastings United player. We do have some players that are playing at other clubs as well. So, you know, obviously Bexley United, we've got a few players that are coming through from there. And the idea is that obviously collectively we put them together. But most of them are made up from Hastings United. So they'll come through the under-16s. We'll get them in for open evenings, parents' evenings, and just sort of, you know, sell them the course. Some students go to other colleges, which is fine for that are in the Hastings under-16s, but the bulk of them do come here. So it allows us then to have greater sort of control of them, I suppose, manage their minutes, which I know Andrew Brown's really good at the moment with, because some of these boys play a lot of football, probably without you realising, you know, they're playing under-18s football, 23s football, college football, alongside some of them being out on loan or playing in the first team as well. So there's a lot of football and there's a lot to go behind the scenes to see that. But application-wise, it's just really simple. Get an application through your school. or you can come direct to the college, get your interview, and then what happens then is we sign you up to the football programme. And we're very inclusive as well. So if anyone's sitting there going, I'm not that great, but I love football, there's avenues for everyone here. So we have different levels of football. So obviously we're very lucky we play in the highest level of college football. So that's sort of your Premier League level. And then obviously there's different tiers of teams that we have all the way down to, I just want to come in and have a kick about, that's available for someone as well, because, football's for everyone sort of thing. It doesn't matter who you are or what you want to do. If you want to come and have a kick about, come and have a kick about as well. If you want to come in and play for England, come and play for England for us.
Top Chalmers, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're quite lucky this year. I think it's 5 we've got this year.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Reel them off for us. So we've got Tom.
So obviously, Freddie Legg, Tom, Jack's in both squads, and Alfie as well. So, yeah, I mean, that's a phenomenal achievement for anything. I've had other colleges that have messaged me and gone, wow, like that's, and they should be very proud. Parents and guardians 100%. Should massively be proud, but as a club as well, because they're all Hastings United players. They might have not all started their journey at Hastings. They might have come from other clubs, but currently they're all Hastings United players. And they've got great futures in the game. As long as they stay grounded, they will go far in football. But again, we go back to that original point. They're all good people as well. So they're definitely the future.
I think that's one of the things that hopefully with things like this, we need to blow our. Oh, it sounds a bit dodgy. Blow our own horn a bit. In terms of your college is obviously shaping these people. And they're coming out good people, and obviously success on the pitch as well. And we should talk about these things more. This is a good thing for Hastings.
Massively. I think even retrospectively, your David Rodaris, your Jamie's, your Ben Woods, they're 3 that have gone on to sign professional contracts. So we're obviously doing something right. Most of the credit has to go to the football club, because that's where they're applying their trade sort of thing. But what it does do is it gives everyone a bit of hope. Do you know what? For years, Hastings was neglected, or the South East was neglected of getting professional footballers. And now I think Hastings is on the map to go, do you know what? Look, there's some very good footballers here. From the first team down, and including the women as well. There's some fantastic footballers here, and we should definitely be proud. And, the next step is, fingers crossed, first team win the league. And obviously, if you look at it in a moment, 23 is the top of their league, 18 is the top of their league, women's the top of their league. It's all looking good sort of thing. So, the future's definitely looking good for everyone sort of thing.
Yeah, great time to be a fan. In terms of your programme, the take-up of it? What, in terms of its growth, obviously from the first year, it must have... I mean, how many have you got currently in? So
we've got... upward of 30 at the moment in the programme, so enough for 2 teams. Next year, we're expecting that to hopefully double, because the under-16s at Hastings alone is 2 age groups, so we're expecting that. But going back to the early days, we had some interesting characters on there. So first year, myself and Ben White, it was more just getting people that liked football, shall we say. Not the greatest footballers. We've got a team out, and they just love playing football. So they were our social footballers, and some of the lads that come through, they've gone on to play, a decent level of football. Some have dropped off and don't play football anymore, which is a shame. But no, the growth has been steady throughout that time, and like I said, the level of football has increased quite a lot as well, which is amazing to see.
Could you give kind of like an overview of the program itself? Like, so you grab these kids, you don't grab them. No, you get these kids in. So what are you doing with them first off?
Okay, so I mean, most of the kids come in, and like I said to you, it's very holistic that they come in and could do any course, but predominantly they're in my area within the sport and public service area. So depending on their GCSEs, they'll get put onto a different level, and within that we'll build a timetable around their football basically. So prime example is, for most of the boys, they'll have some academic studies on a Monday morning. Monday afternoon they'll be up and training with Andrew and Ben Cornelius and the coaches. Tuesday they have an S&C session. so at a local gym. So we send them down there to do 60 to 90 minutes of sort of weight training, making sure, just trying to bulk some of them up because some of them are still a little small, especially for the men's game. Tuesday afternoon, they'll be in class again. Wednesday's our game day. So they're travelling here, there and everywhere. So going down to Portsmouth, South London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're getting some miles in on a Wednesday. Thursday, they've got predominantly, it's just a study day. And Friday, they train again on a Friday morning. So it's a 5-day programme for them, but it's all built around football. And obviously as well, throw in there as well, Hastings under 18 games, 23 games. And, the college is very good and the staff here are very good to allow students to go to those games, making sure they catch up on work and maintaining the average grades that they've got to try and get everything as well. So, like I said, the programme is very much built around the boys and obviously for next year, the girls as well.
Nice. So, that is a segue. So the girls academy.
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing it now, and is it going to kick in proper next season?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. We're definitely hoping to get the girls' academy flying because obviously, you only have to look at the local area. What Hastings are doing alone. There's other women's teams. Bexhill, Eastbourne United. So the growth here in women's football is massive, and I only have to see the young girls that I coach. You can just see the passion for football in this area for the female game. So I think that's the next step that the college and the club potentially and through Skiltek as well have got to do to go, this is what we can do with that. And then I think once we do that, everyone will be in a better position with it, sort of thing.
I was going to ask you about how the college got involved with Hastings. Yeah.
So, obviously that was the old regime. So through Dave Nestling and that sort of thing. And that's where it sort of all started from, when the club come on board, sort of thing, through Dave, through Ben, Dean White, etc. And that's where the partnership was really forged. And then throughout the years, like I said, there's been ups and there's been downs with both sides of the party. But we're now in a position with Billy and Skiltek, etc., going forward, that I think, we're looking to the future and going, actually, you can see a very good pathway for everyone, sort of thing. And everyone's at a level playing field now between 3 partnerships, which I think everyone's got the right intentions going forward, sort of thing. And, like I said, once the ground gets approved and the council pull their fingers out.
Yeah, whatever's going on there, mate.
Yeah, whatever's going on there. We're not politicians, so we won't get involved.
Yeah.
But once that goes, I think, for the college, for the club and for everyone else involved in the town, I think you're going to see sport in general, because obviously I've seen the plans and that, there's access to sporting facilities, there's gym, netball courts, tennis courts, etc. as well, hopefully up there as well. The access for young people within the college as well, just to access that will be amazing.
Is that what's hoped, so that you would almost be based there?
I mean, I think that's the dream, obviously. Yeah. I'm a mere mortal at the college, sort of thing. So I'm not up here somewhere. So hopefully that we can move up there to be with Hastings, and then the usage is there for the day as well for the club as well. So we've got, I think, 1,500 students here, and they would have access to the gym there, to the facilities there. So for the club, again, from a financial,
it's a win-win.
Yeah, financial point of view, you've got good footfall going through there. We've got access to students that want to do apprenticeships in security and that sort of thing. So again, you might see some new stewards and that coming from the college.
You're not getting rid of Safety Dave.
Oh, no, maybe
he keeps us all safe. Go on.
Yeah, maybe you can teach him a few things as well. Yeah. So along the way, but no, like I said, it's we've got so many courses here that I think the club can tap into, and we can do as well. So it'll be really important.
That does sound excellent, that.
Yeah.
Right. So in terms of, let's talk about you now, Craig. So you obviously love football.
Yeah.
You're involved with in terms of coaching of the football. What turns you to coaching?
So yeah, the playing days come to the end, don't they? So for us all, as we get a little bit older, I listen to the podcast every day, and obviously Leon's still going, still playing. So yeah, we can't all do what he's doing, sort of thing, where you carry on playing forever, being Peter Pan. So no, I mean, I stopped playing just before the pandemic, sort of thing, and then got offered a role over at Eastbourne coaching the 23s. And then Ben White from Skiltek approached me and just said, would you be interested in taking one of the girls' teams? And my little girl at the time, she was 5 or 6, and she had a bit of an interest in football. So I said, yeah, I'll come along. And as you do, I'll do 1 or 2 sessions. And now
we've got the taste for it.
Yeah, 6 months down the line, and that's how I've sort of stuck with the girls sort of thing. And and luckily enough now, I'm doing 7s and the 9s. I've got a bit of an interest in the 10s as well. So they're amazing. So that side of it is how I've got involved there. The program here, like I said, I've been at the college 12 years now. So yeah, like I said, so halfway through my tenure, we sort of decided that we wanted a program here to deliver that as well. So I've got 3 different football hats on throughout the week, sort of thing. So live and breathe football. Still wish you could play, but obviously it can't go on forever.
Yeah. So in terms of the football program itself at the college, was it difficult? Was it difficult to say to the college? I mean, how receptive were they when you were like, look, we need to have a football program here. It's going to get people in.
Yeah.
We need it for the town. I mean, how difficult was that to negotiate?
I think at first it was a little bit apprehensive, because like anything, you've got to go, okay, what's going to be the uptake for it? Are we going to get people that want to come and do a football academy? So we had a target we had to hit, and we managed to get that number in. And since then, we haven't really looked back. It's been growing every single year, and the college are happy. Like I said, from a college point of view, like I said, we go back to the extremes of, we've got 5 internationals, but most importantly, we've got 30 odd students that are here every week trying to play football for the college. We have lads that are travelling down from Crowborough every single day to come to the college alone. We've got kids that are coming from Eastbourne to come to this, to come and be part of our programme. And again, you can only do that so much. You have to have amazing staff behind that. So not only the teachers we've got here, but the draw of, as we were, Chris Agata, your Glyn Whites when we started from day one, your Andrew Browns, your Ben Cornelius. If the coaching's rubbish, the kids ain't going to lose. Yeah, so definitely. You're not going to lose them. So that there has to be buy-in from everyone, and that's what I will say. The club's done really well. We have been blessed with, probably in the last few years, with arguably 2 of the best coaches in the area, in Chris and Andrew. So long may it continue, and long may it continue that we continue getting the growth and the players coming through. Anything you want to mention?
Otherwise, we'll sort of wrap it up.
No, I'd like I said, it's been a pleasure coming on, sort of thing. I'm so pleased about everything that's going. Club's going well. Club's growing immensely. Look at the gates you've been getting this year. The crowd at the last match, and I think that's testament to everything throughout the club, sort of thing that's going on, sort of thing. Not just this program, but and the pleasing thing for us is you're starting to see it. You're starting to see our boys on the bench every single week. You're seeing Tom playing week in, week out. Yeah. So for us, that's the massive positive.
Craig, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, chap. And I'll see you at a game of some kind.
You will, yeah, you will indeed. I'll catch you soon. Cheers, Chris.
Take care, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks. Bye.
And now it's time for our fan roundtable. But before we start, a big love and best wishes from all of us Hastings fans to Dave North, who was injured in an incident at Ashford last Saturday. And I know Dave's okay, but we're Hastings family, so he's getting a shout out. On top of that, I'd like to commend how the stewards of Ashford and their club dealt with it. See you at the next game, Dave. Beers on us. And now over to the SBTS fan roundtable. And a big shout out and thanks to Windy John, Flat White Andy, Johnny Wills, Gina, Gary Histed, Malcolm Stone, and our German wing of the Hastings United Supporters Club, Robert Grau, for making it happen. Yeah, as I say, we just wait for this lot to come on and then...
I've got, look, that's my 10 German Bombers scarf up there.
Oh, tremendous.
He made them. Yeah, look,
did he?
I'll take it a bit closer. He had it designed. You see that?
Oh, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
So when did he get that done, Windy?
I don't know. He'll tell you about it, but I think it was... there was one hanging up in the bar for a little while, but they took it down. I think a few people complained because of the German Bombers thing and all that. But West.
Or a German made it. So
exactly. Yeah.
And I knew that the Germans got a sense of humour.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Oh, quickly, John, show Andy the scarves that Robert got made up. Check this out, Andy.
Not half and half scarves, are they?
I don't. Oh.
Bearing in mind, this is made from the German fan club.
German fan club. Look.
You see that?
It's the 10 German bombers.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that reading backwards on there?
No. That reads fine.
No, that's all right.
He had 10 made for the 10 German bombers.
There's 10 of them, are there?
Yeah.
So does that mean they can't get any bigger?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's it. It's like my wall.
Hello, Robert.
Hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm a bit late.
Well, that's not very efficient. That's the first German gag out the way.
That's impressive. Calling 2 minutes late. That is.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, we've just John was just showing off that merch that you made, the 10 German bombers scarves. Very impressive.
I have them behind me. Look, it's a little. I've built up a little shrine.
Oh, that is very good, yeah.
In his best hello German there.
That really was fantastic. Hair flick.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
Aye, it's an absolute pleasure, Robert. I mean,
it's probably the closest I get to the pilot field this season, due to the circumstances.
You're certainly closer to the pilot field than you are to showbiz coming on here.
Right, I've had a long day, so a quick mouthful of beer and then we'll crack on.
Is it German beer?
Le Chef. Anyone know Le Chef?
Is that Belgium?
He was a Bond villain, wasn't he?
John, also that hair club for men's looking good.
Which John you talking to?
No.
Wills.
What is it?
Yes,
What,
you've got a bit more to it this week.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. If you're someone that's of a good height, then you get a glare off the top. But or helicopters try and land on it.
I did think that on Saturday. I thought, he's looking like he's getting a little bit more luxuriant growth there.
See?
Well, what it is, there's no such thing as male pattern baldness. I just comb mine from in my ears and up my nose.
Yeah.
Comb it over the top.
I have noticed that as it shrinks in one place, it grows in others. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Robert had that conversation last night, didn't you, Robert? About what you was going to shave.
Yeah,
Hey.
I did have a good shave, like I promised. Look, only for the movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
It's wonderful. Hey, Gina.
Hi.
Hello, my
Hi,
love.
Gina.
Yeah, right. Well, we've got all the celebrities here. Anyway, we have got lots of people on today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We've got, obviously, we've got the wonderful...
Hey!
We've even got the Histed. Oh, this is too much. So we've got Flat White Andy, we've got Windy John, we've got Johnny Wills, we've obviously got the lovely Gina, we've got the awesome Gary Histed. Yeah,
You got to stay in there.
you're gonna stay right. We're gonna come back to you. We've also got Daddy Stone. Hello, Malcolm.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Hello.
And we've got
Malcolm.
brother Malcolm.
Hello.
And we've got Robert from the German wing of the Hastings United Supporters Club, and his 10 German bombers, German wing. I don't know where to start. We've got too many new people here. Right, so we'll start with Mr. Histed, and then we'll work through Malcolm, and then we'll get to Robert, because we've got a few things we want to ask him. So, Mr. Histed, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Gary, so how long have you been supporting Hastings, and what made you fall in love with it?
Quite a while. I've been supporting them, really. I just kept on coming there because my dad told me about them. That's what made me come all the time. I just fell in love from there, really. Just watching them every week.
That you do. You definitely watch them every week, Gary. And I must say, you were magnificent in that Mankini on Saturday.
It's a shame they wouldn't let me put it on properly, though, go across the pitch.
But the funniest memory in my mind is you making a strong point to that steward wearing a mankini. Excellent.
Well, an absolute pleasure coming on. And obviously, hello, Gina.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Gina.
Mr. Stone.
Hello.
It's a pleasure. So what is it like being the dad of Craig?
Oh, it's frustrating at times, but enjoyable. And yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, you're not going to dish any dirt on him, anything, any sort of embarrassing stuff or amusing.
Unfortunately, I don't know too much, but well, I might remember some as we go along. But
who do you usually follow? I mean, have you followed Craig around around clubs, or have you been coming to Hastings a while, Malcolm?
I've followed him around the clubs for predominantly following Craig. Yeah, and then when he come to Hastings, so. But I did follow Hastings a little bit before that with the like when Darren Hare was there, because obviously Darren Hare was in charge of Craig at Gillingham. Franny Collin I knew when he was down there as well with Darren and that. So yeah, I've always sort of followed Hastings a little bit, certainly since them days, but even more so obviously since Craig's been there.
Yeah, he's doing well, isn't he?
Yeah, he enjoys it, loves it. So it's,
certainly comes across that way, and obviously you bring the family as well. Robert.
Hi.
Hello. This is a long time in the making. Please fill us in on how a lovely German fell in love with Hastings United.
Well, it's more than 30 years ago now since my uncle Paul took me out the pilot field, and I didn't expect very much, but it was quite an experience. First of all, the amount and quality of swearing, it was I sucked it all up, you know, all the words. I didn't know them from English school books. So, and but what also struck me was the passion and the dedication that the people had for a non-league club, which wasn't very successful in those days. So that was really interesting to see, because I think that's quite different to many German non-league clubs. There are always like 50 or 100 or 150 people there, but not this amount of people, and not especially not in the winter, because there is a long winter break in Germany, you know. And so that's a big difference. Yeah, and ever since, whenever I was in Hastings and there was a game, I went there. I usually go there with John and other relatives of my Hastings family. My mum is from Hastings, so I have quite a lot of relatives there. And yeah, and that's my link to Hastings United.
Rob, which bit of Germany were you born in?
In Bonn, former capital. That's just south of Cologne.
Oh, okay. So what I'd love to know is, so you've got that bug, you've loved what you've seen, you've loved what you've heard. What made you think about starting a fan club for Hastings called 10 German Bombers?
Well, this name was, don't know what game it was, but I was standing on the stand, and they were starting to sing. There were 10 German bombers in the air, and it goes on for ages and ages, you know. And I quite liked the melody, so I sang along. And my Uncle John started laughing. So a bloke next to him said, "What's all the funny stuff?" And he said, "Well, he's actually from Germany." And that bloke said, "He's a good sport then." So yeah, and a couple of years later, I thought, because I quite like Spurs as well, and I thought the only chance of getting a ticket to White Hart Lane was join the German supporters club of Tottenham Hotspurs. So I did, And I did 2 or 3 trips with a bus there. And so that on my way back, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to start a similar thing with Hastings, a small club where it can actually make a difference, you know? And yeah, that was the idea born. So the next time I went there, I was there with work. I'm a teacher, and we had a class trip to Hastings. And I went up to the pilot field. That was a Tuesday evening game. And I didn't know quite which bus stop to take. So I asked the bus driver, where do I have to get off the bus to get to the pilot field? And he couldn't tell me. He said, I don't know. So a bloke behind me, he said, I'm going there, so you can just come along with me. And so we walked towards the pilot field, and he asked me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Germany. And then I don't know what struck me, but I said, I'm from the German Supporters Club. So I went inside for a beer, and when I came out again, the music stopped and the speaker said, and a very warm welcome to the German Supporters Club. That was just me, you know. So and there was this bloke on the bus. He was sitting on the stand and he waved to me. He said, do you hear that? That was me. Yeah, I can't remember his name. Yeah, so the next thing I did was talk my friends into it. I told them all about it, and I ordered some scarves on the internet. One of them you see hanging up there, and yeah, and actually there are now 10 German bombers. And
enough.
What keeps us together is supporting the local German club in Bonn, which is also non-league, and we usually go to home and away games. So,
oh, nice!
Excellent.
We'll have to twin. We'll have to twin with them. What's their names?
Bonner SC. They're playing the highest non-league level. That's 4th tier in Germany. Regional League West, it's called.
What sort of gates do you normally get, Rob? Roughly?
Well, far less than Hastings, actually. They're not doing very well. They're battling relegation. So if we get like 400 or 500, that's quite a lot. And we've had some COVID restrictions as well, but now we're restricted to 750, which is quite annoying for the Bundesliga clubs. But we can, you know, try and get a sellout crowd now.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Right, one more. I've got the questions up now, Wendy. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I apologise.
Yeah, that's all right.
Robert, tell us that you've got a story to tell us about Chips and Ashford.
That must have been 3 or 4 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. And there was this one game playoff semi-final against Ashford, and I was on the phone to John 2 days before that. You know, we have a chat like once every 1 or 2 months, and he was talking about this game, and I was getting all excited, and I thought, I've got nothing better to do, so I might as well get on the car, get on the ferry and drive to Hastings and ring his doorbell and stand there in my gear and shout there were 10 German bombers in the end. You should have seen his face. That was really funny.
Oh, you should have seen me shut the door again.
Yeah, I could hear all the locks.
Yeah, click, keep him out.
Yeah.
No, it was great.
Yeah, that was, and I hadn't eaten all day because I didn't have a lunch on the ferry because I thought I'll have something at the pilot field, a burger or stuff. But the
wonderful cuisine.
The queue was very long, and so most of the second half I stood in the queue for chips, and they'd run out of chips. I think someone of them went to Tesco's to get some new chips, but. As a matter of fact, I saw all the goals because the line was standing uphill, so I was able to see the pitch, and I didn't miss any of the goals, fortunately, because, you know, driving a long time just to queue for chips. But in the end, I got some.
Yeah, lucky to find one that hadn't been bombed in the war.
Oh, Oh, a bit of a Stan Boardman joke there. I'm not going for that.
I'm going to ask quickly, as you've got this expectation of Hastings crowd being full of swearing and things, do you think we should change the song to "There Were 10 Fokker Wolves"?
That's up to you, you know.
Yeah,
you make the best of it. I don't know.
An absolute superb week. I mean, I was hoping to have a certain 4-goal hero on, but he's involved with training. So James Hole isn't here today. The only man who went, I think. I don't know. Actually,
I have a feeling. I think Gary went as well. Did you go, Gina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you go, Malcolm?
Oh, I didn't. No.
No. Okay. Right. So we will hand over talk of this. Should we start? I'll tell you what, Gina and Gary, anything you want to tell us from the game? That absolutely tremendous under-23 win.
Just that Hastings was all over them from the start. They should have won more than what they did. That's it, really. Just that they were all over them.
Yeah, some cracking goals.
Yeah.
Hang on, where's Gary gone? What's his take?
You don't want to know what he's doing.
Yeah, this is what I mean.
No, he's not squeezing into that.
This is going to get X-rated now. Gary, I tell you what. He's not in his Mankini, is he? There he is. He's in his Mankini. It's dead. Yes. No, Gary. Any takes from the under-23 game? Anything?
Yeah, it was a good game, really.
Oh, James Hole had a cracking game, didn't he?
I thought we took control from the off, to be honest.
Well, last week Jordan predicted 5-0, didn't he? So he won't be far off.
Yeah, he did say 5-0, only 5-1. Yeah. Right, and okay, I'll move on.
Well, I did see Jordan tearing up his betting slip after the game, actually.
That was because he betted on getting a red card instead of just a yellow.
Andy, unless you've got a Mankini, you're not topping Gary there. So please give me your thoughts.
I'm way past my Mankini days. It was fantastic. It was really, I don't know about. It was just one of those things that quite a few people there, good turnout, nice little ground. Although I was deeply irritated by the way the stand was set to one side, down one end. So the main stand's really weird there, with a clubhouse next to it for anyone who's been there. So, but it's a neat little ground, and they must have some noise abatement thing on them because they had. I told you at the weekend, didn't I, Chris? They had the world's quietest PA, which was then I realised then why everyone was gathered round the clubhouse because
they could hear it.
Yeah. Those of you of a certain age, and it was like I said to you that it was like Rob Brydon's Man in a Box impersonation was actually doing the announcements. So everyone had to fall completely silent to be able to hear the teams when they were announced. Wow. But very, very, very strange. It was a really nice new pitch. And I think the nicest thing was watching the way those lads played on that pitch was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we've seen examples. I think Ramsgate was an example where the first team were really grumpy playing Ramsgate on that pitch. But watching these lads on it, it was just unbelievable. The wingers particularly, Alfie Peacock and Freddie Legg, just absolutely sensational. I think their two fullbacks had to be unscrewed from the pitch at the end of the first half. It was literally
Freddie Legg's pace is ridiculous.
But both of them, because Peacock. I'm sort of an age where I don't really trust players who have their socks over their knees. For me, it's on Britney Spears, it's great, but on a footballer, I'm not so sure. So, but he played. He absolutely murdered the fullback, and where we were stood, they were really, really carping the midfield. The ball was just bypassing them, and the fullbacks were just taking absolute hammering, and they were fantastic. And James had a fantastic game as well. And it's probably one of the best hours of football. I don't know about you, Gina and Gary. One of the best hours of football I've seen this year, and that's not an exaggeration. Jack Bates, we've seen him play before occasionally with the first team. He just moves. He's got that Wilshere Gascoigne sort of movement about him. You could criticise him and say he could release the ball a bit quicker sometimes, but my God, that really is nitpicking.
That'll all come, isn't it? That'll all come in time. Oh
God, I mean, anyway, they absolutely buried them. They buried them. What Gina said was right. They did, and it was just, to be fair, New Haven kept on going. They kept on going, and when things eased off a bit, they got their goal. So good for them, really. But yeah, it was fantastic, and the goals were superb. James's 4 goals were, when I watched the video, it occurred to me that they were a breakaway and through the keeper's legs. I think then there was the header from Alfie's cross. Then there was the tap in. Oh no, the penalty, and then the tap in. So it was like a complete sort of centre forward selection box of goals. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, they were really chuffed with themselves, and so they should be. And Andrew as well should be chuffed with what he's got out of those lads. It was like, well, you can tell though I'm talking, you know how grumpy I can be. And I was absolutely, really was just put a smile on your face.
Hats off to you getting there though, because you know, there's a lot of fans there say, well, oh, they're going to go. You said you're going to go again.
Yeah, that was so worth it. And I even tweeted. I'm very reluctant to use Twitter. I even tweeted about it. That's how enthused I was. So yeah, well done to them. Yeah. So, and I think it was what you could just see from James's face, the game he'd had, the week he's had. I mean, obviously we're going to the Ashford game, but what a week for him, and what a week the lads who played for the England team.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! Honestly, yeah. And it made me. I'll tell you one thing it did do. It made me less stressed about the chances of a 3G pitch at the new football ground. Watching that lot play on it, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And I mean, incredible. I think back to when I was 20, and I just wouldn't have seen the ball.
How long ago was that again, Andy?
How long ago? 40 years ago. Don't be fooled by the oil exterior.
I'll use that too.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? If you pitted that team against some of the teams we play in our league, how do you think it's fair? I know it's a bit of a silly question, but just have you any thoughts on that?
Well, it was funny you should say that, because we were talking about that on the way back, and we said we reckon they could give the bottom half of the table a good game. It would have to. I would say it would have to be on a decent pitch, and you'd need a referee that looked after them. Because the referee was quite good actually. One bloke went absolutely straight through the back of James, but he let play go on and then went back and booked him, for example. So the ref was quite good. They would need a ref that looked after them because of their physique, but technically they're just outstanding.
I want to say there's some great talent at that level, and the future's bright at Hastings. Unfortunately, you've got a lot of the first team players that are playing extremely well, and every game is a cup final this year. So getting their chances in the first team are quite limited, and they need to be playing men's football. And that's a problem to gain the experience, strengthen, and unfortunately, maybe the only way they're going to get that is to go out on loan, and it's to go on to lesser clubs, if you see what I mean, and they don't always learn their trade in the right way, if you see what I mean. That's the unfortunate you've got to think about it, and there's more than one or two, and that's a problem. And I think Bates showed that at Haywards Heath. He was a little bit out of his depth when you play some of them clubs like that come to just want to beat up, if you like, Hastings, and try that. You can't bring the younger lads in at that level. And it's unfortunate because they've certainly got the talent. Their body just isn't quite ready for it yet. It's and that's a shame. But
I think that's what Jordan was saying last week about himself, wasn't it? He was saying he said, "I'm not built big enough yet. It's not as big as dad yet. It will be."
Yeah. But you see with James and Tom Chalmers is a good example. He's got Saturday, we'll talk about Saturday, but Saturday I thought physically he really stood up to it, and I think that when they get their chance, if they're good enough, they deal with the physical side of it, and Tom's beginning to do that as a good example. So it can be done if you've got the skills, and then you just
Well, yeah, and you're also given the opportunities.
Yeah,
and
you need to build the resilience.
And I think they will be given the opportunities. It's just that it takes time, and even with Tom, it's taken time for him to get used to men's football and that physicality of it. And unfortunately, we're coming into the sharp end now, where everybody that plays Hastings treat as a cup final. You know, and it's every game is a big game, and you can't always blood youngsters in at this time of the season, unfortunately. But there's a lot of talent at that level. I've seen them a few times, and there's some good boys there.
It's amazing how quickly they can come through. Look at Ollie Black. It's only a couple of years ago he was on the border. Now he's regular, isn't he? So
yeah.
And
he doesn't throw with his hands. I had to. Sorry, I'll do it before John says it. So
I was going to say that James has been on the bench. And he's come on for a few times, and when Popey was out, he had a game in the cup, didn't he? And he's not looked out of his depth, has he?
No, not at all. No.
Holds the ball up, he finds his passes, and but it's those opportunities, isn't it? With injuries and things like that, where you get a chance to really build up your experience at that level.
Yeah.
Well, just quickly ask you, Rob. I know we do need to move on a bit here, but Robert, like at the German sort of non-league level, I mean, are they giving youngsters a chance there, or is it sort of more of a veterans league at the level you're watching?
Well, that depends on your budget, basically. I mean, a team who has the ambition of getting promoted, they will be able to buy efficient strikers who can guarantee like 15 to 20 goals a season, and who've played a league or even two leagues above before. And teams with less budget, such as Bonn, they have to field younger players simply because they don't have the budget. So it's good to develop a squad, but of course it's tough if you're in the relegation zone and you're lacking experience.
Yeah. So maybe Hastings could send a few players out to Bonn now that we've got this hands across the channel.
Yeah, well, it would be good to see if they played each other. I would say Regional League West is about nationwide in England, maybe Division 2, something in between that from the level. It would be very interesting to see how it goes.
Going to message Billy Wood later.
I can fill
friendly written all over it, hasn't it?
Yeah, pre-season trip to Germany. All of us going over.
What?
Never come back.
Lederhosen on.
I've already done that. I've done that.
Robert, make it happen, mate. We'll make it happen this end. Right. Let's move on to an absolute fantastic away day. There was just so much about it. It was fantastic. I mean, from the start, when myself and Andy got there, and we saw.
Oh, and Gary came off the couch. What a moment that was.
What a moment. The genius of Gary. It
was just like an apparition in a black suit, wasn't it?
If you want to talk about, Robert, language, English language, swearing, he came out, he greeted the stewards of Ashford. Is he there? He's not there now, is he? Is he gone away, Gina?
He's watching Portsmouth.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
I can go and get him if you want.
Nah, it's all right. Go on. We're
He's
just
quiet in there.
Yeah. But I mean, no. Well, start. Who should we start with? Let's start with you, Gina. Actually, I mean, what's your thoughts of what was just a tremendous away?
I thought it was a good game.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it actually. I have to having to look after Gary after time though. chasing the stewards around. But yeah, apart from that,
I bet you didn't
trying to
expect-
control him to leave his clothes on.
I bet you didn't expect
I don't
to have
bet
to
you.
do a...
Do you do that all the time, Gina? Do you keep his clothes on, or is this? Come on, there's
Yeah.
a bit of disclosure here. Come on, dear.
No, yeah, I keep his clothes on.
Yeah, all good.
So, but next time he said when we go away and they win, if they win, he's going to dress up as a woman.
Okay.
He's going to put a skirt and everything on.
Is it
Well,
going to be
we're a rainbow club. There's no doubt about it.
exactly? So,
I think he's going to do
some
different dress up
taffeta.
every
Is
time.
it some taffeta, or what's he going to wear?
I ain't got a clue. He just told me just a minute ago. He went,
How was it?
next time I'm going to dress up as a woman. I was like,
Make sure he doesn't get into your clothes then, eh?
I might share, might be good.
No, we get what we got to all think about, Gina. Now is we've got to think about what do we want Gary? What sort of clothes do we want Gary dressed in? I think that
something that covers him all up.
Oh,
Did
well,
you find it
Gary
funny
instead? Huh? Sorry.
his arguments with the stewards? And
Conversations, John.
no, but how could you make a serious point when you're wearing a mankini? My mind. Point,
Yeah.
and then you look down, he's got this mankini.
Yeah, Robert, you'd have loved it, mate. If you it's proper stuff. Just
I think there's a picture somewhere.
oh, was there really? I was desperate to find one. Gary
I
in
think
it.
it was. I think I mean all that sort of stuff. It was one of those days that was almost a literal definition of non-league football, wasn't it? The whole thing was just
Great
the match, the fans, everything about it. Even the bloody howling wind.
Actually,
Yeah.
so we're getting stuck on Gary here because he's taking over Gina here. So we're not going to talk about Gary now. Let's talk about the match. So the match itself, cracking win.
I think we should have won by a lot more, if anything, because we was on it first and second half. We didn't take, and mine was on it the whole time. It's not as if, like sometimes Hastings like go off the ball a bit when the others score, but this time we was fully on it.
Yeah, and what was that about the 6 minutes of injury time till they scored? Where did that come from?
I don't even know.
Unbelievable.
I think there were a couple of minor sit downs, weren't there? But I don't know about you, but certainly after the Burgess Hill goal last weekend before halftime, when they got that corner just before, when eventually, with about 6 minutes of injury time gone, when they had that corner, you could almost just honestly just. It was so and it was just after we'd scored as well. Which to my mind, I mean, we were down on the Hastings side, up the side, and I couldn't see how. I think it was probably the only time that Ben Pope wasn't grappling with one of their players or the goalkeeper, and he got flagged offside for interfering with play. It was about the only time he wasn't interfering with play for the whole game.
Well, have you seen it on Twitter, the actual video of that?
Well, I've seen. Fun enough, I saw the picture. There was a picture somebody had posted of the goal that was disallowed from behind the goal, and Ben stood well clear. I mean, the keeper's just not saving that. Full stop, in my opinion.
No. What it was for a foul on the goalie, as far as I'm aware, and it was where Ben was with him, and kind of the goalie looks like he gets him in like a sort of headlock, and then falls over, and Ben gets called for the foul, which it seemed a bit, maybe I'm biased.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so
But anyway, so 2 cracking goals. Tom Chalmers' effort, I mean, that was class in a glass. I mean, that was such.
It was like a Mike Tyson. It was like the equivalent of a Mike Tyson punch, wasn't it?
Oh, it's the one.
What I said to you just think, I would love to. I can't imagine what it feels like to hit a football like that. You know, it's like when you do it once. You used to do it once every 6 months or something, and you'd hit a ball
hit it
like
right.
that. You just think, how did that happen? I can't imagine what it must feel like to do that. What a goal! What a goal! Yeah.
Right, we're dominating here. So I would like Windy and Malcolm to any takes on this?
Over to Malcolm. I wasn't at the game, and Malcolm's got more of an interest. Go on, over to Malcolm.
I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I must admit, it was a bit nervy, too nervy for me, I think. I couldn't understand what the disallowed goal was all about until I see it on Twitter, I must admit. And you can, if you look closely, you can see Ben Pope's got hold of the goalkeeper's shirt from behind. He's actually holding on to it, and the goalkeeper grabs him round the throat, I must admit, and pulls him to the ground. But because Ben's also got hold of him, the goalkeeper comes down with him. I can slightly see why it was disallowed, only from Twitter. I couldn't watch in the game. But
controversial take by the father of Craig.
Yeah, I'll try.
No, that's interesting because, like I said, I could see. You could tell from my initial conversation, I couldn't see anything wrong with it initially myself. So
no, but he's got his hand behind him, holding the goalkeeper's shirt, which is why the goalkeeper tries to throw him onto the floor. But of course, Ben takes him down with him.
Well,
that's Ben. That's what Ben does, and that's what a good centre forward to do. 9 times out of 10, you'd actually get away with that because it's hidden. But I think we were by far the better side, I must admit. So it was much deserved. I think it would have been a travesty if they'd scored that header right at the very end and just looped over the bar. And I think everybody's heart dropped then and thought, no, surely not. But it was a good win.
The only thing I would say, did the players, or do you think, especially with Craig, who, I mean, at the back line put in such a shift, do you think we let them on to us a little bit too much? Because those continual balls into the box in that wind, you were really worried that one was going to drop in them, because they only needed to get lucky once, didn't they? And I was worried that we let them on, and the boys at the back, absolutely, just really, it was just constant, wasn't it? For 20 minutes.
I think that's why they defended reasonably deep because of that. And if I go back again to the Haywards Heath away, it was very windy up there, and the ball over the top, or between Craig and Finney, was what caught them out in that wind. And I think that's what was worrying them on Saturday, that there was a ball that was going to be swirling in the air. One or the other one went for it and got that knock on, and they were through. Especially with when Jay May was on the field, because he's very clever at getting the knock-ons and that sort of thing there. And I think that's why they defended quite deep. And that's, I think, as well, possibly why Gary played with 3 at the back with wing backs, because
and with the plastic pitch as well. Because it has that nasty bounce, especially at that one. I've heard it's pretty ferocious.
Oh yeah, Craig doesn't like that. It's so old, and it's an old type. We used to call AstroTurf, really, but it's a little bit better than that. But none of the players like it. It's one of the worst ones around.
Well, I thought it was terrible. I thought it was obviously done by the same company that's done John's hair weave, I think.
There's John sitting there all quiet, not saying a word.
That
Andy's buried you, John. Come on.
Threadbare and uneven.
You can always tell by how many of them black balls come flying up every time the ball bounces, how bad it is. If it's a good one.
Are you talking about John's hair still? Matt?
Yeah, how many black balls jump out of his head?
But we can get back. We can get back to Robert on this one, because we went. When was it, Rob? About 12 years ago, we went to Ashford. I think it was New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And it absolutely tipped it down, and it got abandoned at half time. I can't remember the score. I think we might have been winning. I can't remember.
I think it was a goalless draw because the ball didn't get anywhere near the box.
Crap. They have improved the pitch.
Threw out the ball, and it went like 10 yards to the left. And he said, right then, that's it. So walking off the pitch, it was bucketing down. And one of the Hastings supporters said, it could be worse. It could be raining.
It's a bleak place there, though, isn't it? It's a bleak place.
Oh, that far side, opposite the stand, that's really... When that wind's blown across there,
yeah. That's where we were stood, and it was. But it was worth it.
We didn't notice behind the goals because we were having a good time, weren't we, Gina?
Yeah, we was.
Yeah.
John, was you at the game?
I know, he's very quiet, John.
John, was you at the game?
Oh, me, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry,
John, your name's John.
Did you?
what
was your opinion of it all?
You know that video of Ben Pope leading the singing at the end of the celebration? It was just good. I've also got the disallowed goal from behind the goal, so I might put that on somewhere and we can sort of have a look at that. But
is it the grassy knoll, Cam? Is this going to prove that it was a goal?
Yes, but I behind the goal, you don't see the overview of the whole game, so you don't see half of what's going on.
Of course you don't. Yeah, I know.
And the tactical side of the game, but it was a tremendous atmosphere behind there. I just can't believe there must have been about, what do you reckon, about 500 Hastings there, because their usual gate is 300 or 400 or whatever, and when you looked around, there was all claret and blue, wasn't it? So so
it's great. I mean, there was Ben, and I think there's a fantastic picture they put out today, and I remember seeing him at the time. Andrew Cissay's face as he walked along.
I saw that. Fantastic.
He just had this
massive grin on his face.
He had this face. He had a look of sort of bewildered joy on his face.
It was great to see that.
Almost like, I can't believe I'm so lucky as to have landed in this.
Yeah,
he just looked.
I think
so
he just
happy.
In the Mankini.
Yeah.
I knew Gary would come back into this conversation, Wills.
Yeah.
Malcolm, you mentioned Franny Collin earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Did you catch up with him on Saturday and sort of rub it in a bit?
I didn't get a chance to. They sort of weren't about too much, were they? And they didn't sort of want to engage too much.
No.
So I thought Craig would, catch up with Jay May, who he's played with before, and obviously Franny, he was at Gillingham with him. And
well, they both had, both Jay and Franny had a little spell at Hastings for a little while. So
yeah, and I thought they would sort of engage more, but they didn't. I don't know whether we went downstairs in the bar because they run out of beer upstairs.
I wonder why.
So yeah,
Jesus.
So
it's carnage, wasn't it?
It was carnage. I mean, they didn't cater upstairs, so they ran out of beer and all sorts. But
yeah, no, it was good crack.
I remember the queue was still out the door.
Yeah,
I was there quite early, so I got in the top bar and
with the hoi polloi.
As you do.
We got in the top bar.
You got in the top bar, yeah. And I watched a lot of the first half from out the window at the top bar, and then wanted to get out and get a bit of atmosphere. So that's what I did. But then they wouldn't let me back in, and I'd left my phone and everything up there by the window, and they said, "No, you've got to go downstairs." So I said I need to get in there first to get my stuff. I had to go through the back line up the back. So.
And they weren't even going to let us have the drum in there. Gary went and saw the chairman of Ashford and kicked off about the drum.
Gary physically grabbed the chairman of Ashford and persuaded him that we should have our drum.
What was their reasons for no drum then? Because it's not in a housing estate or anything like that, is it?
They were saying that the drumsticks are on an offence.
Really? Oh, we'll have to start using brushes.
Oh,
yeah, have a jazz accompaniment. Fantastic.
Yeah, my dad would have loved that.
Behind the goal, it's Dave Brubeck. One for one. Look it up, kids.
Yeah.
But how did he twist his arm? Actually, I don't want to know how he twisted his arm. He probably did twist his arm. Go on.
Did you do it literally?
No, I just told him it was a joke because we couldn't have the drum.
I know. It was
drums,
ridiculous. We got two. That's what I mean. We got two drums in the end.
Yeah,
well, Gary's
2 drums.
Gary's hassling got us 2 drums. So well done, Gary.
Yeah.
I'd already smuggled the sticks in though before they said we couldn't have the drum.
Yeah, no, I know. There was all sorts going on.
How how the sticks were smuggled in.
No, stop it. Stop it. John?
Down my sleeve.
Family show.
I couldn't bend my arm for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Can't hide them in a mankini very well, can you?
No, he couldn't. Right then. I'm sure we'll forget. Well, I mean, there were great scenes, obviously, after the game. We were all leaping around, being silly. Obviously, Billy would come over and John embraced Billy. Well, we all did, didn't we? It was lovely, wasn't it? It was just a lovely.
Did you go down in the bar afterwards, Chris?
There was a no.
Did you go downstairs?
After the game?
Yeah.
No, not after the game. I think Andy wanted to get away, and it was the queues are out the door. The queues were out the door, weren't they? And it was just just better.
Yeah, it was.
So tell us, Malcolm, Tom, what was the bar like after?
Oh, it was great. The atmosphere in there was. I think somebody put a tab behind the bar, and it was just carnage in there. They put some music on down there, and nice. It was you can imagine the singing that was going on. It was. I think every song came out, and it was good fun in there. I think I left there at about 7:30, 7:45, I think, and I left everyone else there at the back on my way to get out the door. It was that full. It was a good evening.
I mean, actually, while you're here, what does Craig think of the game? I mean, it was obviously a massive game. I mean, I know we were saying it weren't a season defining, but still, what's the team think? What's Craig think?
Hopefully, he won't listen to this, but to be quite honest, he found it quite easy. He said, they didn't really pose that many problems. And he said it was quite a comfortable game for him, and those that are around him. He said we never felt as if we were going to lose or even draw. We always, were felt in command of the game, and because I said to him, "Oh, what was you bored?" And normally he goes, "Yeah, I was a bit bored," and he said, he did actually go, "Well, yeah." He said, "We never felt." He
had a bit of light reading while he's waiting for the ball,
That's it. Especially when Jay May went off, I mean, and Jay's not got the legs now really to worry too much, but he's big and strong and he's experienced. So, Craig always finds him a little bit of a handful. But I don't think Jay was up for the fight really. I think the first opportunity
dominated by Stoney.
Yeah, him and Finney, I think, dominated J Man. I think the first opportunity he got, he said, "I'm out of here."
It's
that was quite nice stuff. Watching it from home, I was quite pleased to see the lineup and see Finn was in there.
Yeah,
I was a little bit worried. I don't know why, because the other lads who cut and cover, but it's just Stone and Finn in the middle. That's solid, isn't it?
Especially given the conditions and the game that Ashford played. I mean, that was what that was why them attacking every ball like they did stop that chance of it dropping in the wrong place, and that was their the main option was the diagonal ball into the box, it seemed, and that's sometimes they got round the back, but not really. And that was the only worry, that it was just going to drop in the wrong place once, But we always looked as though we could score again, and the goals were so well worked. And we
haven't really talked about them, have we? I mean, Ryan Wall's goal was phenomenal. You know what I mean? It was
Interesting thing about both the goals was Andrew Cisse seemed much more tucked in this week. I don't know whether that was deliberate. I suppose it must have been. To me, it looked as though he wasn't just hanging around with the linesman for the whole game. He was much more tucked in, and his runs into the box were instrumental in both the goals. So there was something different going on there, maybe because of the five at the back and the wing backs.
I think it was, Andy. I think that's what he was. Because you had the new guy that gets forward, TC gets forward. And I think he was looking at if he kept Cisse coming inside rather than hanging outside, taking up their space.
Okay, so
somewhere to run up the wing.
How did the new guy play? No one's mentioned him. Is he?
He didn't look match fit to me. He looked like he was stretching everything after about an hour, and he did go off. So it's a bit probably a difficult game to get involved in. I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
But
where was he playing? What?
Left wing back.
Okay.
Yeah. Left wing back. He's got vast experience.
I saw that.
Steps higher than what we're playing at, but I got an under-18 cap for Ireland as well.
Yeah.
So he's had a good career, and hopefully he's got a bit more of that with us.
Yeah.
What did you send me, Will?
We did have him there because of OB getting injured in the warm-up. So
yeah, it was bloody handy, wasn't it? What did you send me, Wills, about Tommy? You willing to?
I said I'd misheard slightly, so I thought we'd signed Tommy Cooper, but it's Tommy Cooner.
I'm like, what is this madman sending me now? And then because I hadn't been following Twitter, so I didn't know we'd signed this guy. And then I'm like, why am I getting messages about Tommy Cooper? He's finally gone insane. And then I realised it's
signed him just like that.
Yeah.
I think he'll be. I think once he settles in, it's a tough game to play in your first game, and like I said, I think the pace seemed like the pace got to him after an hour or so. But I think he'll be. One thing I noticed again, being up the side, was the moment he stepped on the pitch, he was talking. So he's obviously got the confidence to slot straight in. So that was interesting, Craig's really good. Craig's always keeping everybody going at the back. That's quite noticeable again. And this guy you could tell he just had that demeanour about him. That was good.
Yeah, we've already got like 2 or 3 captains on the pitch all at the same time. Anyway, Sammy and talking of which, the big game
600, yes,
600 for Sammy.
600 games.
Wow.
Bloody hell!
So bearing in mind.
Amazing.
He had probably about a season and a half, maybe 2 seasons away from Hastings as well. That's just nuts.
He has been away then.
Yeah, he went to Rye for a little while, I think.
It's a lot of games, isn't it? If you
and
spend
Hive,
a couple of seasons away.
Yeah. I'm sure he was at Hive. I can't remember now, but yeah, he definitely was away he was away the season we had the FA Cup run. He must be gutted about that. Wow. The big one, Middlesbrough and all that. He missed all that. But yeah, good one. Well done, Sam.
Yeah, brilliant stuff, mate. Yeah. Well, I'm going to get him on eventually.
Yeah.
He keeps telling me to go away politely, but eventually I will get him to come on.
I'm sure he doesn't say go away.
Cool. No, he's lovely. He's lovely.
He's a nice guy.
I mean, he's lovely.
Yeah.
You just want go on.
A joint celebration, because I believe it's since Andy's been coming to the club, it'd be his 600th flat white coffee as well.
No such thing at the ground, is there? It has struck me actually whether I should open a pop-up coffee stand, whether that would how that would fly with the new a bit of gentrification that won't go amiss.
Billy, you love a bit of that.
I've got a question I forgot to ask last week. How long has it been since they've been selling beer on draft from the club shop? Where they sell the shirts and all that.
Only a few weeks.
I'd never noticed it until last week.
Yeah.
Where's that been going? Like on
can only be after Christmas.
Robert's got a little club shop behind his head, you see, and he needs to put a draft in there for his German lager.
You can't disturb the Hastings shrine.
Yeah. No, I didn't notice it until last week. I thought, wow, good move.
Yeah. Since we've been regularly turning out 1,000 for home games, everything's under a bit of strain. So they seem to be looking at ways to feed and water the masses, don't they?
Yeah. Just need some more toilets.
Extract cash from them.
Need some toilets up the other end. That's what they need. They'll cut the portaloos.
Well, they need decent beer on tap down that way. Yeah, because it's only in the clubhouse that they've got decent beer.
Yeah,
but if you don't have any decent beer, you won't need any toilets.
That's true.
Only a German could think of that.
Yes. Germans.
Things are important.
They are. Writing, I think I mean, obviously it was a tremendous day. I'm still buzzing from the Ashford game. I'm sure we all are. Moving on from that, did anyone go to the women's game where they won like 12-1, like a crazy score?
Mad, wasn't it? 10-0 at half time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
10-0 at half time.
We talked about this last week. They desperately need a couple of. It's a pitch they couldn't have parachuted in a couple of levels up. Really,
that's what they need to do. It's sort of, you sort of feel sorry for them having to grind their way through this to get to a level that suits them in a couple of years' time. It's not doing them any good, really. Is it? They're all right. You're winning,
can't they?
Yeah, it'll come.
It's brilliant. I mean, it's a shame at the same time.
Gina, you've caught some of the women's games, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The home ones.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just getting sure Gary's come along as well. But is it as the lads are saying? Is it just too easy? It's just
too easy. They're just like walking. It's just like them walking some of the time. Yeah. It's one of them sort of things that if you're scared to blink at a women's game because they score so many goals that you're scared to miss one.
Alternatively, you've got plenty of time to go and get a beer because you know there's another goal coming along in a minute. So.
Yeah. Or in Robert's case, chips.
Yeah, chips. Okay, all right then. Well, then we look forward to. Should we look forward to Saturday? I'm trying to remember who we got. Who we got again?
Hive.
It is Hive, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, a certain.
Get that mixed up again.
Yeah, so there's a certain John Wills that forgets where Hive is. Malcolm, you weren't around for this one, so we were going to a away day.
Okay.
We were going to Herne Bay, weren't we, John? Was it Herne Bay?
You was.
Hi. Were we going to Herne Bay or something in the sat nav?
Yeah. He's going to a completely different place, and me and his son are like, "What are you doing, John? Like, we're not going to Hive." Are you sure it was Hive? Hello, John.
I think I'd given all the stats, sound clever, but I'd read up on it all, and I'd read up on the wrong team.
He's read up the wrong team. He's going the wrong way. Luckily, it was. And me and his son are like, "What are you going on about, John?"
It's amazing how Robert can drive from Germany in one day to Hastings, no problem at all.
Well,
it used to be no problem.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I won't have to fly now.
Yeah. At least we haven't got the signs turned around the wrong way now.
You've been in too much Dad's army, mate.
I have.
Right then. On that note, should we talk about Hive at all? I mean, I'm fully expecting us to turn Hive over.
But again, they've all got none. Lance improved. None of the games are easy, And look at Burgess Hill; they're really flying now. And I think they're on 7 wins on the trot now. Burgess Hill, but any team can do that in this league. That's the thing. So I don't think you should take any team lightly. None of them are easy.
I can't imagine that. I can't imagine they do. I think that was. I think since Gary's taken over, there's just that little bit. I don't know why. I have a feeling it's a mean thing to say, but I worry that they might have. That game on Saturday was the sort of game they might have lost when Aggie was managing. There's just that little bit more. The resilience was a really major feature on Saturday. Yeah. And and I think Malcolm said it. They looked as though that we are not losing this game.
Yeah.
And they just had that look. And also they were a little bit more direct when they needed to be, so a bit more pragmatic when in crap conditions, just deal with it rather than fanny around. And they I think they'll win more games anything that's close, they'll win them now.
It's great to go. It's going to go away and beat Ashford and things like that. It's going to the Hives and the places like the East Grinsteads and things like that. That you've got to go there with the right mindset to beat these sides, because, as I said earlier, every game to the opposition against Hastings is a cup final. and they all raise their game. They all look for a way of beating us and beating us up as well sometimes. And you've got to go to the Hythes and East Grinsteads and win them games.
Yeah,
because because it becomes insignificant then beating the Ashfords if you can't go away and beat them.
But we don't look as though we're going to be bullied now. That's another thing. We just don't look as though we're going. And people like Finn and that make a difference there. We just got that. Yeah. We just don't look as though we're going to be bullied anymore, because that number 10 of theirs was really his job just seemed to be to bump into people. But he got no change out of them, and he got pissed off because of that, and that's a really good thing to see.
Yeah,
that's a really good thing to see.
And I don't think you can underestimate the effect of having a away support like that. And you can see the appreciation from the players always, can't you, after the games? But what a club to be at! If you had a choice at this level as a player, and you could go and run out in front of 250 crowd or something, or you've got a club like Hastings that are just growing and growing with this fan base. I think it's
international fan base.
Special happening here.
Yeah, and I can speak for Craig here, and it's all about the fans. And it's when you get a big crowd, and when you get like Hastings are getting, that it lifts them that just one level above, and that's why I've never said to Craig or anything like he does it off his own back. He's always the one at the end that's applaud. They all applaud, but Craig makes sure he does because he appreciates the fans. And I know he enjoys going out. The bigger the crowd, the better he feels, and the more he enjoys the game. It's and enjoys playing. It's all about the fans. So,
God, I think that's a wonderful full stop, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. But thank you very much, all of you. Thank you, Windy John, Flat White, Andy, who's soon to have a kiosk in the Pilot Bar. The lovely Gina, and whatever Gary's doing and wearing or not wearing.
Don't tell us.
I'm sure he'll tell us on Saturday. John Wills, obviously Malcolm Stone, thank you very much for coming on, and our German supporters club, Robert, please, we'd love to catch up, please. I want to talk to you again, Rob, and we must get some links going with your local club as well.
Yeah, well, it's been great on the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, brilliant. Nice to meet
you. Good luck for the season. I follow the results, of course, and John keeps me updated. It's so amazing that for a third season in a row, Hastings is playing top of the league, and they've, I think, avoided promotion twice. And to keep the squad together and a third season in a row playing on top, that's really amazing. That's a great achievement.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
And this time the job will be finished.
It will be. Well, guys, going to see you at a game. Robert, I'm going to see you on Twitter or something. I don't know what we're going to see each other at. But
you never know. I might be knocking on your door tomorrow.
Is that a threat or a promise? Or I don't know. On that note, I'll see. I'm just putting the bolts on the doors now, but I'll see you again, guys.
You need to, mate. You need to.
Take care. That's it for another week, Loose fans. Could it get any better? Under-23 Cup glory. Our women's team hit a dozen against Maidstone in the league, and our lads smash our rivals at their place. Happy days. As ever, if you want to get in contact with the show, or have any suggestions, or want to get in on our weekly roundtables, that email again is hufcpod@gmail.com, or on the Twitter, which is @HUFCpodcast. You can get this podcast on all major platforms, be it Google Podcasts, Audible, iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon Music. And we have a jam-packed YouTube channel, chock-a-block, full of video interviews and episodes from the podcast. Please, please, please give it a look, a comment, or a like, but definitely subscribe. It's all free. All that's left for me to say is, I've been your host, Chris Laverick. Hope you have a good week, and see you at the game.